News and notes from OTAs. Week 2 is the focus of today's video. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. For our second video of the day, we're going to dive into all of the things you need to know coming out of OTAs for the black and gold. The quarterback competition continues. We got some updates around the defense, attendance, all sorts of stuff, injury news. This is going to have a lot of good information, so I highly encourage you to stick around for the duration of this video. So great news to start things off. No new injuries. Hey, let's clap it up, guys. No new injuries to report from OTAs. A couple guys actually returned to practice. Some guys still missing. And in terms of the overall attendance, again, reminder, OTAs are not mandatory. They're voluntary. So some of the guys on this list, you're going to see and you're going to be like, oh my God, why aren't they there? Don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. Taysom Hill, Tyrann Mathieu, Alvin Kamara. Those are a couple of names to note that were not present at the portion that media was available to take a look at and observe and everything. Demario Davis, he was seen in a video the other day from OTAs, but today he was not present. Cameron Jordan, not present as well. Bryan Bresee, Shough, Nathan Shepard, and Isaiah Stallbird round out that list. A lot of these guys, obviously, it's, voluntary. So some of these guys aren't going to be there, especially the veterans. So that doesn't really make me that nervous. Doesn't really get me all that worried, but nonetheless, attendance is something that we wanted to hit on. And players that were working off to this side. So Jake Haener, Quincy Riley, Dallin Holker, and Foster Morrow all still at practice. They were present. They were there. They just were working off to the side because they're all dealing with their respective injuries. But most of these guys should be ready to roll by training camp. No new big updates for any of these players. Just they were around. They're present. They just still aren't fully participating. They're working off to the side. So that's the latest on the attendance front. But let's talk about the quarterbacks because I know that's where you guys are really, really interested in. Tyler Shough, today he actually had a really, really good day at practice. He also had a couple big highlight moments. Two of those were big touchdowns to Bub Means and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Deep balls that were touchdowns. He did throw an interception to Rajon Wright, but in terms of the interception, he actually did look really, really good on that. Reports are saying that he was able to layer the throw to the sideline for some of those guys for Bub Means and whatnot. He did flash some athleticism, and on the incompleted pass, that actually might have been the best pass of the day, despite Danny Stutzman breaking that one up. It was a really nice pass. Danny Stutzman just made a play, so shout out to Stutz. On top of that, he did primarily work as the QB2. Once again, last week, he got a lot of work with the second team, but then he rotated with the ones during the 7-on-7 portion of the day. He seemed to process the throws much faster. Overall, this was a very encouraging day around Tyler Shough. There was noticeable growth in this session, and you can see that he's getting more and more comfortable as he continues to work in the National Football League and at the professional level. Now, we talked about Bub Means here because I got a hot take for you. Scorching hot take. We talked about it in our live interview with James Skrmetta yesterday. Bub Means, I believe he will have over 1,000 yards this season. And for what it's worth, Ross Jackson did report that it was a really, really good day for Bub Means. Buy stock in him. The route running is looking much better. He is a very physical player who has a nice size profile, and he's a guy that I do think can make a big impact as the X-receiver operating as a complement to Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed as a wide receiver. So buy some stock into Bub Means because he continues to flash and show some good things. Now let's go to Spencer Rattler here. With Rattler, he had another good session. He was pretty accurate, was able to connect on a lot of passes, worked mostly with the first team, obviously Shough working with the second team. He did have the nice connection with Juwan Johnson and Chris Olave. It's nice to see these players getting chemistry and getting connections early with the top players on the roster. Obviously, Tyler Shough will connect with some of those guys when he gets more reps with the ones, but with not Rashid Shaheed, with Spencer Rattler, he underthrew Rashid Shaheed slightly. It was an incompleted pass. For what it's worth, it's okay. Don't really buy too much stock into the incompletions and whatnot and all of the stats from OTAs because at the end of the day, this is just 7-on-7 drills, and it's not really full-speed football. But I will say this around the quarterback competition, the battle is very, very, very far from over. It's only going to heat up. It's only going to get more intense, and it's only going to get more competitive and tougher. So for both of these players, I want to see them rise to the occasion. I want to see if the moment gets too big because that is a big quality and a very important quality in quarterbacks is can they rise to the moment? Can they perform under pressure? Those are things that we need to see, and I want to see one of these two players separate themselves from the other ones and take command of the offense. Now, who will win the quarterback battle? I'm going to give you my opinion here in just 1 second, but I want you guys to let me know. Who do y'all think will win the QB battle? Type SR, type TS for Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough in the comment section. If you want to go above and beyond, explain why. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think, or who I think will win the quarterback battle. And I think it's actually going to be the Saints fans. It's a cop-out answer. I get it. But I think Saints fans are ultimately the people who will benefit most from this quarterback competition. Because either way, you're going to get the better of the two players. And if it doesn't work out between one of the two, well, guess what? You might have a very, very high draft pick, and you can go get a top-tier quarterback talent in round 1 next year. I don't think you jump ship quite early, but my point being, the winner of this whole quarterback battle isn't going to be one of the individual players. It's going to be us fans because we're going to get a competitive, young, talented passer of the football as the quarterback for the foreseeable future. Now, let's kind of shift gears to the wide receivers because obviously quarterbacks have to have somebody throw the ball to, right? Kellen Moore, he's very impressed with the wide receiver group. He emphasized the speed and the versatility of the squad. He said that he feels like the receiving core has a lot of juice and a lot of great energy. And what I can say about this wide receiver group is that there is endless amounts of speed on this squad. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, all absolute speed demons. Do not sleep on the quickness of number 12. Bub Means, a very athletic, larger guy that can be that X receiver, something that the Saints have been missing for a few years now. Donovan Peoples-Jones, a name to keep an eye on. Moochie Dixon, Chris Tyree, a couple UDFAs that I think could make a name for themselves throughout this preseason and OTAs and training camp process. Same with Mason Tipton, Dante Pettis. I think that they also offer some versatility within their own roles. But the big glaring question is who's going to be the big-bodied role? Well, if it's not going to be Bub Means, I do think Juwan Johnson could be a player that steps into that type of role. Obviously, he's a tight end, and I do not think that he would be moved to the wide receiver position. And I also will say this, I think there's too much of a focus on the actual designation of the position. Like, Kellen Moore has straight up said it. If you have 2 premier tight ends, you're going to run 12 personnel. If you have players that are talented, they're going to be on the field because they give you the chance to win. So maybe Juwan Johnson can operate as that big-bodied receiving presence because he was a really, really decent, or not really, really decent. He was a pretty solid wide receiver at Penn State and at Oregon in college, and then he transitioned to the tight end position in the National Football League. But in terms of a true wide receiver, the guy that I would go and target, Keenan Allen, 33 years old. He has familiarity within Kellen Moore's offense, and one of his best seasons in terms of production was when Kellen Moore was his play caller. So I think this is the guy that I would go and spend money on. Amari Cooper, another name to potentially keep an eye out on, but I think I'm going to put my money on Keenan Allen here. Got a little over $20 million to spend, 22 to 28, depending on where you look. So I think that that's a player that I'm definitely intrigued to go and get as this process continues to pan out. Now, really, really fast, I have a real reason and a real hunch. Not enough people are liking the video. And I was talking to my guy, Drew Brees, and he said, hey, Trizzy, big fan of the show. Watch it every single day. Got the noties on. I'm subscribed. I'm part of the Golden Gang. And I said, Drew, it's an honor just to know that you're tuning in. Electric Factory. And you know what Drew Brees told me? He said, you know, real fans, real members of the Golden Gang, real members of the Who Dat Nation, they like all these videos. So if you're a real Saints fan and you don't want to let down Drew Brees, like today's video. All right, so more from camp. There was no changes to the offensive line. So the first team offensive line was the same that we saw last week. And how it panned out is like this. Kelvin Banks at the left tackle position. Talese Fuanga on the right tackle position. So those are your 2 bookend tackles. Hopefully those will be the guys that will take over for the foreseeable future. I do have a lot of faith in those players. Trevor Penning moving on to the inside. Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz. No shocks there. No big changes in terms of the offensive line. And there's a lot of question marks around the O-line. And dare I say, this squad actually might be okay. Dare I say, this squad actually might be decent. Dare I say, a hot take, woo, 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 hot take alert. I believe for the New Orleans Saints offensive line, if Trevor Penning can pan out and put it all together at the left guard position, I truly do believe that this could be a top-tier offensive line group, especially in the next coming years, because it's young, a lot of investments in the first round and second round in this group. especially if this team can stay healthy and the O-line can stay together as a unit for most of the season, if not the whole year. This could be a really, really good offensive line, and an offensive line that's really good for a handful of seasons. And, that's the recipe to success, winning in the trenches. Now, Kellen Moore did show some love to Trevor Penning, and I want to just share what he had to say on Penning, saying that he's doing an excellent job. The transition from outside to inside is never easy for anyone. A transition in general is not easy for anyone. The more reps you get, the more comfortable you'll be. And so that's what they're doing with Trevor Penning and giving him more and more and more reps. And if you need a reason to believe in Trevor Penning, well, I'll tell you this. If you forgot about it, if you didn't know, last year, the Philadelphia Eagles, they signed Mekhi Becton. He's traditionally been a tackle, but he transitioned to the interior of the offensive line, and he had one of his best seasons of his career. He had a whole new revamp in his career because he transitioned to the interior offensive line and did so seamlessly and so well. I have a reason to believe that they can do the same thing with Trevor Penning because he does have some really nice qualities in an offensive lineman, and I do want to see if he can work out because maybe, just maybe, this could be the thing that really unlocks Trevor Penning and helps us take it to the offense to the next level. Now, we got to talk defense here because the defensive side of the football, I think, is going to be exciting. I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's going to be really, really unique. So first things first, I want to start off on the defensive side of the football by talking about none other than number one, Alontae Taylor. So to start things off with Alontae Taylor, he has been great at OTAs, and I personally believe he is going to be a player with a massive, massive role on this Saints defense, and I have a lot of belief in this player. I'm excited, and I want to see Brandon Staley absolutely unleash Alontae Taylor. It's time to let this guy off the leash. It's time to let this dog off the chain and let him absolutely feast. Kellen Moore saying that Alontae Taylor will provide a lot of flexibility to the defensive side of the football. It'll allow the Saints to play in some matchup football, and that's where he's really, really good, is excelling against the run and as a blitzer. So you can have him match up in different situations and different scenarios that really, really appeal to the skill set. And look, Alontae Taylor is a talented guy, not just in terms of the production you see on your screen. He's extremely disruptive. 6 quarterback hits last year. The PFF grades are really, really weird when you look at him. Overall, a 45.0. I don't really buy too much stock in Pro Football Focus grades, but it's kind of a benchmark to see how good they are. The pass rush grade, 70.1, and the run defense grade is an 82.1. So this is a player that I want to see get a lot of opportunity rushing the passer. This is a guy that I want to see move outside, move inside. I'm excited about another season of Alontae Taylor. I believe in him so much, and I'm really, really pumped. And look, I'm not the only one who feels that way. Alontae Taylor, he also has said this: my role is going to be pretty crucial. I'm going to help the defense out in many ways. The freedom I have to move around and play my game, those are the things that he is excited about and that he loves. He has also said that he's had a lot of fun playing in Brandon Staley's system so far. Obviously, we haven't seen it in game action, but at OTAs, he's had a lot of fun in this new defensive scheme. He's pumped to be working with Brandon Staley. Staley's a smart defensive mind. I'm excited to see him use a player like Alontae Taylor because he does offer a lot of versatility and a lot of unique skills. Now, for what it's worth, Alontae Taylor from OTAs, what we've noticed, he will be actually more of an outside cornerback in base packages. However, he will move to the slot in those nickel packages with Isaac Yiadom bumping out to the outside and Alontae moving on to the inside. I'm so excited about number one. Uno is going to have an excellent season this year. All right, we're going to end things off with Chase Young because the Predator has returned to OTAs. He is back. He's looking big. He's looking great. I'm really, really excited. All the reports coming out of OTAs were that he was playing with a lot of energy. He was very competitive. He despite it being very, very limited reps and low speed reps, he was playing at a very fast level and at a high pace. So I think that that's really awesome, and for what it's worth, people are saying that he looks very comfortable in Brandon Staley's scheme. I'm excited to see how Brandon Staley and Bo Davis combine their minds to maximize the players on the defensive line, not just Chase Young, but Carl Granderson, Cameron Jordan as well. And for what it's worth, Brandon Staley's defense asks their edge rushers to do a lot. And for what it's worth, pretty good news here. He had some solid moments dropping back in coverage during the 7-on-7 portion of the day. So shout out to Chase Young. It's good to have him back. Saints invested a lot of money in him. So I have very high expectations, high hopes for this player. And hopefully this is the year he can put it all together. All right, Saints fans, that's going to do it for us today on the channel. If you want more updates, you want to see more photos, and you want to see more content around OTAs or just the New Orleans Saints in general, hit your boy up on Instagram and X, Trace Girouard 48. I'm also over on TikTok. The links are available in the comments and description of this video. Just click on it. It'll take you right to my profile. Hit your boy with a follow, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.